Welcome back to the Texas Truck Channel. I'm Brian, and this week we have the pleasure of driving Toyota's 80 Series Land Cruiser. And I'm gonna jump right to the exterior. It looks brutish, it looks handsome, and has classic lines that I really appreciate. Now, I got a few choice words for Toyota. The paint is debatable. The antenna just doesn't get any radio station whatsoever, and the grille has leprosy. I'm not sure what Toyota's done here. They're known for quality, it's just not the normal thing from them. Really confusing. All that aside, it comes with BFG KO2s and the 33s. That is the best chance any vehicle can ever have off-road and on-road at the same time. Really impressed with that. There's an old saying that says, Africa was found by Land Rover, but it was maintained by Toyota and kept running. So let's keep that in mind as Craig hops to the interior and tells us what's going on there.
Welcome to the interior of the 1997 Land Cruiser. This is just a classic SUV is what this is. And Toyota's done a good job of refreshing the interior from 94 to 95. They made it a little more modern because one of the things they did is we got a second airbag now. That's nice. We got one airbag, two airbags. But I like Toyota's decision to keep the side airbags out. Because what that does is maybe it's not as safe, but who cares? I can see past this A-pillar, and that's pretty nice. The sight lines are really good in this. However, Toyota's got some work to do because they've got some cracks in the dash. That's a problem. They got this radio that's got a touchscreen, but it's ancient looking and just, well, it's very Toyota. It's ancient and it doesn't work, so that's the bad part. Also, they've got some trim issues. I mean, this latch to the center console doesn't work, and there's wind noise all throughout this thing. I don't know what they're thinking. So with that, let's get it into the shop and see what's going on underneath the hood and underneath the suspension. Welcome to the under the hood portion of the 1997 Toyota Land Cruiser, and behind me I've got the 1FZ-FE. For those Toyota heads out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about and you're all excited about that, you know what it means. What that means is it replaces the 3FE that was found in the previous version of the 80 series. That was only a 4-liter. This is a little bit bigger. It's a 100 millimeter by 95 millimeter stroke, so it's a little bit bigger bore than it is stroke, so it's over square. It's a torque monster. It's not a horsepower monster, but it is a torque monster. It's good for 212 horsepower, which is not a lot, but it's available. It's got 275 pound-feet of torque available at 3,200 RPM. It's kind of like a tractor motor. This is probably the closest thing to getting a diesel we can get in the States. Overseas, you got diesel versions. Those are, a lot of people love those. But this one's basically a diesel functioning gasoline motor is what it is, and the drivability of it. The only other place you'll find this motor on the planet is a cab over commercial, like delivery truck, like you've seen around here, than a Suzu or a Hino, something along those lines in the Japanese market. And the only other place outside of that, besides Land Cruiser, is a forklift. They're big, heavy-duty forklift models that go from 15 to 30,000 K lift. It goes in there. That's it. It's the only place you'll find this thing. It's paired to the A442F transmission, which is made by Aisin, and that's a Toyota company, so everybody knows what all that is. Fun stuff. It's a 4-speed automatic, and it's like a bus transmission. Funny enough, they actually put these in some buses in Japan, and that's about the only place you'll find that transmission. So it's not the highest performing, it's not the snappiest, but it works. You can't really upset this thing. It just goes, and that's about it. EPA-wise, that's good for 12 city, 14 highway, 13 combined. Real world, we're seeing 13, and at best, we've seen 15, and that's on 33s versus the original equipment 31s that it came with. Probably the best thing about this particular unit is it has the triple lock, the coveted triple lock, electronic locker, front and rear axle. That's hard to find, and they actually work here most of the time. But anyways, we'll do a hill test and see that here in a minute. Let's get underneath now and see what makes this bad boy tick underneath and why it's so beefy and it's so legendary.
All right, boys and girls, we got the meats. Bring it in. Oh, geez Louise. This is a 285 75 16. It's freaking big. Look at that sidewall. Look at the white letter. That's hipster points galore. And I'll be honest, it's freaking cool. If you ever wondered to yourself, should you do white letters out? Just do them out. That's the way to do it. Also, BFG KO2, the way God intended it. Plain and simple. Now, let's talk suspension. Stick axle, front and rear. That's what this baby has. That means articulation out the wazoo, according to the internet. Up front, it's a 3-link design. You have 2 control arms that are cast iron, they're huge, and they have twin mounting points to the axles that control rotation. You have a track bar up front, or panhard bar for Mustang people. And then you have a coil design with a divorced shock. It's separately mounted. It's not inside of the coil itself. We think this has old man emu shocks on it that are old. We can't see the labels, they're worn off. But it rides surprisingly well considering of its age. In fact, I wouldn't be too surprised if this is a slight lift on this coil as well. We just don't know. There's no labeling left. All that aside, This this axle design looks a lot like a Ford 9-inch. It has a third member in the middle, and the whole differential can be unbolted and removed that way. Very serviceable. Let's talk about the corners of this thing. This is a Burfield design axle. And what that means is instead of a U-joint on either end, it's a CV joint that's internally mounted. It keeps it out of debris and weather, but it can leak. It looks like a spherical dome. It can leak over time, and these happen to be. Now, out back, it's a 4-link design. Same concept, same Ford 9-inch style differential that Toyota's been using for years. And it's a 4-link with a track bar as well. Now, with that covered, brakes is the next thing. 4 pots up front in 1997, that's a big freaking deal. Toyota's truck brakes have been good for a long time, and I can see where it came from. Now that out of the way, let's get on the road and see if it drives at all.
All right, Brian, we're in the vulnerable, really big bore 6-cylinder tractor motor.
As we talked about, the forklift engine.
The forklift engine that we talked about in the shop, yes. Got to be worth something.
Okay.
Hit it. And I also mentioned
20.
It's got a bus transmission.
30. It feels like a bus. 35, 40, 45. I feel bad for doing this. 50. 55 was a little moral to doing this, and 60. I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Okay, so you know, it's like a bus.
Yeah.
0 to 60 times are not their strong suits.
So what did we just hit there? Yeah, so that was live with both of us in it. Now AC is running.
A lot of heat soak.
A lot of heat soak. It's on our first run. 16.53 to 60. And the 8th mile was done in 13.78. So we've passed the 8th to hit 60 miles.
Yes. And every run we've done, we had to do that. The best run we got was the second run, and we got 13.9.
That's pretty good.
So, well. No, not really. No, it's not really.
Well, but for a bus.
For a bus.
And a forklift, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure, that's fair.
Yeah. So let's talk about driving.
Yes.
And that's the segment we're in.
Yep.
A couple things I want to cover. The seat, for reasons unknown to us, can't go back any further, or shouldn't, without some other tools. So I'm a little too close.
Sure.
But there's headroom, even with the sunroof.
Yeah, that's true.
My problem with Toyotas of yesteryear is I can't fit in them. I fit in this one.
Yeah.
So I have confidence that I could make it work.
Yeah.
The gauge is kind of like a bus, really clear.
Yeah.
And the steering input is about as vague as a Jeep.
Yeah.
But a little less unwieldy. Like, I don't feel it's darting and wandering off the road as much as a live axle should be.
I agree. That's a good point. So a solid front axle. It's not near as wandery as one would think for this age of the vehicle. I've definitely complained in recent times, recent reviews. Jeep's doing that more than I would prefer.
Jeeps and live axle heavy duty, like the F350 does that as well. Yeah. So yeah, we talked about that before. So other than that, it's pretty good. Now there is some diff whine up front, for we're honest.
Yeah.
And I want to praise a couple things. This is triple locked, like you talked about. It's got a locker front, rear, and center.
From the factory,
From the factory, that's a big deal.
All right, before we get up on the hill, though, talk about the suspension. This is an old tired suspension. Old man emo, it looks like. Hard to tell because the labels have rubbed off.
We think.
How's it ride for a solid axle?
Better than I thought it would. As far as ride and drive goes, it handles fine. And actually, no, that's not true. It handles pretty bad. I mean, it's a live axle box SUV.
Yeah.
But it is better than expected. For 342,000 miles, I'm just shocked it's running at all. And by the way, the AC is ice cold.
It works.
Like, I hear wind noise because we can't find some of the weather strip. I'm not sure where it went.
Yeah.
Maybe it's on vacation.
It's somewhere.
But you know what?
It's on a trail somewhere.
I would drive this cross country tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's not the most comfortable thing, but I know it's going to get me there.
It's going to get you there.
There's some credit with that.
Yeah.
So all that covered. Hill
test. Let's do it. That's what it was made for.
All right, Craig, you're in the glorious 80 series. What say you? What are your tools? What do you plan to do here?
Well, we're going to make this easy. So we're going to do, we've got it in power mode.
Okay.
Which doesn't really help a whole lot except to hold the gear longer, but why not? We'll go ahead and do it in 4 low because...
Just to make it easier on everything.
Just make it easier. We could probably make it without it. I did put the rear diff lock on.
Okay.
I've got the triple lock or the front lock trying to come on. I don't know if it's on or not. Sometimes that gauge works, sometimes it doesn't. We'll find out if it's actually on or not.
So it could be locked, we're not sure, but
It may lock by the time we get to the obstacle. I don't know.
So you're trying to lock everything for this.
Why not?
Do you think you need it?
No.
All right, let's find out.
Okay.
It's all about approach and departure. Let's go. Oh, there we go, and effortless. Okay, well, that was really boring. I appreciate you coming to try out the hill, Craig. I'm sorry for everyone watching at home. That was just effortless, but good job, 80.
Yeah, that was kind of boring.
Yeah, okay, let's go wrap it up.
All right. Brian, it's time to wrap up the day on this legendary 97 Land Cruiser 80 series that everybody goes crazy for because of the axles, blah, 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 Land Cruiser,
Yeah, the whole internet. Yeah.
So it's time to do objectives and subjectives.
Objectives, subjectives.
Yeah, sure.
Or,
whatever.
Or
Anyways,
subjective objectives.
that is, neither one of those makes sense, but let's continue. So objectively, Brian, the Land Cruiser is legendary and will never die. You can't kill it. It'll just run forever.
Well, objectively, it is legendary. Mm-hmm. And subjectively, it's penetrable. I think that's the way to put it. Like
it still requires maintenance.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting
even
at.
though it's a Land Cruiser.
Anything that is a seal or a gasket, this particular 80 series is an example of that failing over time.
Still wears out.
Still wears out. And any rubber product, like weather stripping, wears out.
Huh.
But and also anything that's metal, rust.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now this one, for example, has no rust, which helps a ton. But anything that can leak is.
True.
It's oil-based, not coolant-based.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, it's legendary, and credit to it, 342,000 miles, 97 model. It's here, man. It's going, and the AC still works.
Objectively, Brian, the resale on these is always ridiculous, and you can never lose a penny on these because you'll always be able to get your money back when you sell it. Subjectively.
Well, it depends how much maintenance you put into it, but in all reality, they do have a crap ton of resale value. It's insane. These are like the original Ford Raptor in terms of resale value. Bonkers.
Objectively, Brian, it's got stick axles, which means it's the best off-roader you could ever get, and it's the only way you can actually go over a rock.
No, that's not right.
What?
No.
No?
No. We have a counterpoint to that.
Okay.
Stay tuned for that. And by the way, stick axles do articulate very well, and this is a beast off-road, but it's not the only way you can do it.
Absolutely. And so we've had fun today. We've kind of been reviewing it like it was a new car. We've given Toyota crap for peeling paint and other issues and slow things and bad fuel efficiency. To be fair, Brian, and honest, this car is actually ours. It's actually part of the show, and there will be more coming on this particular vehicle, so stay tuned for that. One of the things we have realized, and this is objectively true, it doesn't have to be...
Yeah, it's not necessarily a Jeep thing to be legendary off-road. And we'll leave it with that, Craig. If you're interested in 80 series stuff, be sure to subscribe. We've got some interesting things coming. Yeah. And I also want to give full credit. This thing is awesome. It's a beast.
It is.
I'm excited to see what we do with it. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. And we'll have another chapter coming soon.
See you next time.